Well, let's go ahead and get started. How's that sound? We are excited to have you here and to dive into yet another topic that we uncovered in our 2025 State of Towing Industry report that came out as a topic that needs addressing. We need some help in working on it. We're going to talk about it. We can't wait to discuss it with the folks that are here. My name is Shelley Hawkins. I'm going to be your host today. I'm also joined by our moderator, Jillian Grissetti. Hey, Jillian, how's it going over there?
Hi, Shelley. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You bet. You're welcome. We also have with us Matt and Vernon Oliver from Mission Wrecker in San Antonio, Texas. Welcome, Vernon. Welcome, Matt.
Hello.
Hello.
Great to have you guys joining us. Very excited to get your professional expertise on this topic. Before we get to know the Olivers a little bit more, let's talk about a few things that's going to take place during the webinar. This webinar is being recorded, and we will be sharing it via the email that you registered with, and we'll also share it across all of our social medias so that you can watch it at any point in time, along with our website, www.atura.com, and that's AUTURA.com. If you have any questions during our discussions, please feel free to submit them via the question and answer function at the bottom of your screen. We are going to address those. And we're also going to have at the end of the webinar a time for live question and answers. So we will be addressing all of your questions. Very excited to get into your comments and what you think about everything. We are going to have a poll. It's going to pop up in the middle of the webinar, and we would love for you to rein in on your opinions. So keep a lookout for that to pop up. So now that we've got that all covered, I'll hand the mic over to Jillian Grissetti.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shelley. So today we're here to talk about strategies and tactics to help improve the people side of the towing business. So in 2024 and in the 2025 State of Towing report, we heard that employee retention and hiring is a major challenge, continues to be a major challenge in the business of towing. So specifically, today we're going to talk through a real-life strategy for attracting talent, as well as a tested system for empowering new hires to ramp quickly and then ultimately stick around. We know, and it's been proven, that a strong onboarding program is a competitive differentiator for companies and even leads to new higher productivity. This tells us that if we invest in our people, it pays significant dividends. So after having the opportunity to speak with Vernon and Matt, it is clear that they are being intentional about culture, hiring, and retention. They've prioritized the creation and measurement of programs that are meant to attract talent. They invest heavily in their new hire ramp, and they provide opportunities for employees that are growth-minded. So for context, let's talk a little bit about Mission Wrecker. Mission Wrecker is a towing company out of Texas, 63 employees, 46 of which are operators. They also have 60 pieces of insured equipment and facilitate approximately 180 jobs per day. So before we get to the good stuff, Vernon and Matt, hoping you can take a moment to introduce yourselves.
Vernon Oliver, co-owner and vice president of Mission Wrecker Service here. I've been in the towing industry for 48 years.
I'm Matt with Mission Wrecker Service. I'm Vernon's son, second generation. I've been with the organization for 19 years.
Awesome. Okay, so to kind of kick things off here, so the topic of employees, it's vast, it's intimidating, and it's easy to think that someone else's ideas or systems don't apply to you based on size, location, maturity, what have you. So in early discussions that we had about content for this webinar, Vernon, I thought you did a great job outlining some of the truths and challenges that will help leaders know where to start. So can you talk through a few things that the audience should keep in mind when they're thinking about the topic of hiring and training?
Yeah, what we've discovered over the years is that the more time we spend with someone up front, is a better product you get on the other end. So with Matthew doing the interviewing, we don't just spend a few minutes with someone and have them fill out an application. He spends an hour or more with them, and then we go into the next step would be an onboarding phase that we spend a whole day with. We let them know they're going to get paid for that. And then we move into to training after that, which is long term, and Matthew will get into the details of how long we spend. But we feel that the more time we train, the less problems we have later on. So it's basically the investment up front for the product you get later. If you can suffer through the time without the driver being in the truck on his own, you're going to be better off in the future. And the problem with training is expensive, but so are the damages and all the other things, and retraining if you have to hire somebody because that guy didn't last. So that's why we spend the time up front in doing that. And sometimes it doesn't work out during training. We find that out, so we move on and they move on, and no hard feelings. And then last but not least, we try to be, this business is not hospitable, so we have set schedules so that people can go on calendars and put their days off for their families, and everyone has a family and needs to do something. This way they know when they're off, instead of having random schedules every week and they don't know what to do, when to do it, or can't plan anything with their family. So that's the things we found over the years that are important to not only us, to our employees as well.
No, thanks for that, Vernon. And so, I mean, what I'm hearing, right, is whether you're a small company and growing or if you're a sprawling enterprise, I mean, there's really not a one size fits all program. It's never too late to start. And frankly, it is important that just you remember that you have to ultimately start somewhere. So again, pretty excited to move into this part of what we're going to review today. So, Matt, I mentioned the importance of training and development as it relates to new hire productivity and employee retention. And Mission Wreckers seems to have a robust operator training program that allows for the thorough training of new hires, as well as an opportunity for your existing team to flex their leadership skills throughout the process. Can we take a little bit of time to walk through the operator new hire program at Mission?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we have outlined here, I would really start with day zero, which would be the interview phase that Vernon was talking about, where we sit down and spend an hour with everybody. I take that time and I interview the potential employee, and then I also like to interview myself and show them what we expect and what our culture is like, and what we demand uh, as an entity, and make sure that it's the right fit for them. If they like, or if they don't hear things that they like, then this is going to be the time. Let me know now before we move forward if you see or hear something on your end that you don't want to move forward with. And then we go to day one, which would be where you're going to come in. You're going to start your onboarding process. We start by paying you this day as your first employed day at Mission Wrecker, with training pay, so that way you're getting paid throughout the whole experience, and whole time during this paperwork process that could be tedious. This is where we're going to sit down and do payroll paperwork, insurance paperwork. You're going to go to the clinic and do a drug screen and a pre-employment physical to make sure that you can meet the demands of the job. After all that's complete, day two, you're going to start in a truck. You're going to get a safety vest. You're going to get work gloves, work boots, anything you need to get set up. We're going to make sure you have everything that you need to be safe out on the road, and we're going to put you in with the driver right away. That process, depending on your experience, is going to be 1 to 2 weeks in what we call towing 101, where you're going to be doing house calls and tire changes, jump starts, lockouts, where you're not going to be doing the nitty gritty rollovers and accident cleaning and scene cleanup and stuff like that. You're just going to be doing the absolute basics that we can get you on board with. In those 1 to 2 weeks in towing 101, we're also going to set you up in a myriad of courses, like a advanced flatbed awareness course, a Sharp 2 traffic incident management awareness course. We're going to sign you up for an 8-hour online hazmat course, and we will also schedule you to get your TDLR license through the state of Texas and take a 100-question test, and also sign you up for your 8-hour renewal already in the beginning, which is also like a towing 101 course as well. That's going to be your basics to start and get you moving. On weeks 3 through 4 is where we're going to know that you've already done your basics. You can probably go up to a broke down vehicle and load it on your own with some assistance and a trainer there next to you. And now we're going to throw you in with the drivers who are doing police calls and doing that on a daily basis in and out, as well as doing house calls as well. 4 to 6 is going to be just refining those skills, and we're going to take you and take the notes that your trainers have found, and them telling us what you need work on, and we're going to put you with a different trainer that maybe has better skills in that. Customer service, for example, I know exactly who I'm putting you with when it comes to customer service. If on your training outline shows that your customer service is not proficient. If it's paperwork, I know who I'm going to put you with. If it's loading or unloading, I know who I'm going to put you with, and we're going to move you around to make sure that you're getting honed in on those skills that you need that you're lacking at this point. On week 4 through 6, that's what that's going to entail. At the very end of this training, when all of your trainers said, okay, this person's good to go, they're ready to hit the road on their own, we're going to put you with our driver manager for 1 day, and you're going to be in office. This is going to be your very last day of training. You're going to go out and load a vehicle on a flatbed or whatever tow truck that you've trained on. You're going to put one on the wheel lift as well. You're going to throw dollies. You're going to load a motorcycle. And you're also going to go on an on-road test, double loaded, so that we know that you can handle any situation. And you're going to be out on the road for 15 minutes. Make sure that your driving skills are up to par as well, not just your towing skills. After you pass all of that, you're going to come in the office and sit down with our hiring manager, our onboarding manager, and you're going to do about a 3-hour orientation, which is online in conjunction with our third-party safety management company. That's called Synergy Solutions. And basically, they've designed this orientation program online with us that's going to have our safety manual, our driving manual. It's going to have and tell you how to call in if you need to call in. It's going to have quizzes and safety training in their videos as well. So you're going to take about 6 to 8 training courses on there based on what type of driver you are, light duty, medium duty, heavy duty. And you're going to simple things as much as 3 points of contact. You're going to take a test on that. You're going to fill all that out. It's going to take you about 3 hours. After that, you're done and ready to go, assuming you pass all of that and have no further questions. And we'll assign you a truck and you'll be on the way.
It's just an incredibly robust program, right? So I actually have a couple questions I wanted to lean into here. So you mentioned that third party that you're using as part of onboarding and I believe regular training for the employees. So well, I guess could you help us understand why did you decide to do that? And or how has the experience been and where could it fit into someone else's program?
So for me, it's having a third party that's holding you accountable. So you're not just overlooking it because you need that driver out on the road making calls, which we all need that. But it's somebody else holding you accountable. It's somebody else looking at your dash cam footage. It's somebody else that's helping you write your safety manuals from a third party perspective that's going to tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear or what you want to put in the safety manuals or what you want your drivers to hear. This company that we use specifically, they send out about a 10 to 15 minute safety video at the first of every month to all of our operators. We have to take a 10-question quiz every month. That kind of counts as a monthly safety meeting or toolbox meeting. They also come in-house and do our quarterly in-house safety meetings. And they sit down and do Zoom meetings and phone conferences with our drivers one-on-one if they're involved in any incident or if we think that they need more driver training, driving training, or anything that's behind the wheel. They help us with our safety manuals. Like I said, they rewrite things for us as things change. It's a constantly evolving. It's very fluid.
Can you tell us a little bit about the employee sentiment for those programs? Like, is this something that the employees welcome, or do you find that there's any pushback?
Of course, there's always pushback when there's extra oversight. Of course, you already have your supervisor, your driver supervisors, your driver manager, management, ownership looking in, and we try to let you be, of course, and we let all the processes take place on their own, and we just intervene where needed. But at this point, it's trained at the beginning and early on, and it's been adapted for so long now, it's just normal practice at this point. the biggest part is just doing it, and you're going to have your pushback, and everybody will get used to it, and the ones that don't can leave, and um, they'll adapt and adjust, or like I said, they'll just have to work their way out, I guess. And that's not exactly somebody you want in your program anyway.
Right, so the expectations are set up front and it's just standard operating procedure at that point.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we talk about and we tell them in the interview process. We have these people watching, we have these people contacting you. It's not just us. These are the kind of things that we're going to do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever the case may be. And so they know up front. Luckily, in today's day and age, if they've had any type of commercial driving job, they know about dash cams, they know about Samsara and Lytics and all of these third-party management companies. So they're already normally familiar with it. It's just, it was the beginning that was the hardest part. It's just getting started, but after that, it's fine.
One thing I did want to touch on is when you think about when you're looking at the new hire process, there's a lot of employee engagement, like existing employee engagement in that new hire program. So can you talk to us a little bit about really that involvement from the employee and like why it's an opportunity for them and how you make it worth their while to participate and be highly engaged in new hire training?
It's really just the fact that we're taking the time to show them, tell them everything that we expect up front, and then having the drivers that are the trainers and the supervisors that are sitting there with them, showing that culture. It's just constantly being honed in on them and beaten into their heads, basically, that this is how we do things, this is how we operate, this is how it's going to be, this is how we're going to continue to do things. It just, from start to finish, there's no, basically, I guess would be an easy way to put it, that they're constantly seeing from day one of training to when they're out in the field, everybody's holding each other accountable.
Vernon, were you going to weigh in there?
Yes. So along with the trainer or the trainee, from day one of enrollment getting paid and knowing with peace of mind, all this time I'm spending in the office, I'm getting paid. And then in the field on the job training, they're getting paid. The trainer is also getting paid premium for their days because it's taking commissions out of their mouth, basically, for them spending the time to train someone else. So we pay a premium to them as well per day, and they have to write a report, a daily or weekly report that they turn into Matthew as to what they see in this person as a trainee. And if we see bad habits, or if they see bad habits and they're reporting to us, we try to, that's what Matthew has to focus on. Is this something that's repairable? Continue on, put him with someone else, focus on that bad habit or whatever, and let's try to work them out of that. And especially if we've got a lot of time invested in the person, the one thing we want to know is this someone with the right attitude and someone that we want to keep on? Invest even more time than the standard program to get them in the right place, and because that's going to pay off for us later on, instead of starting over with someone new back to ground zero.
That's a really great point, Vernon. One question I had is, in the middle of all this, how do you assess a cultural fit during the training? Because they may have the knowledge, they may have the abilities and the skill set, and the toolbox may understand how to operate the biggest rotator imaginable, but do they fit in the organization culturally?
Not everyone fits, and a lot of time everyone's on their best behavior in the beginning, and when they're out on their own, sometimes you get a complaint or whatever, and you investigate and then look at that's another good thing with the cameras are good for in the vehicles, or we can see and hear what the driver's saying if we have a complaint. So we go back and review that, and obviously there's three sides to every story, but we check into that, and if it is our guy, we counsel them, but if it's a continual problem, we don't keep the problem. We're going to get rid of the problem. If they don't want to work here, they're letting us know.
Yeah, understood.
And we don't want anyone working for us that doesn't want to work here.
Well, that makes sense.
And so, for the folks who want to work towards creating a robust program like the one you have or refining their current program, is there any place, and Vernon, this question's for you to start, like, is there any place where they should start that you'd recommend?
They should definitely start with safety, because one of our biggest problems in the industry today is insurance. So you have to do your background on the persons that you're hiring up front. Number one, make sure they don't have a bunch of accidents or incidents. Sometime you're not going to find out about damages and stuff until they're within your company. But that again, if they're doing on the job training with a trainer that's just observing, they're going to things along the way before you ever turn them loose. Their bad habits are going to show up if they've worked somewhere else. So that's the one thing you have to work yourself into a longer term training process to find out things up front. So that's what I would recommend.
That's super helpful. So I want to pivot a little bit and talk about measurement of programs like this and how you evaluate and fine tune your process. So, Vernon, I believe you have some data on employee retention that's core to this program. So, can you tell us a little bit about the metrics that you're tracking and how you're tracking them?
Technically, I just track our turnover rate year by year through payroll, which is how many tow truck operators we have, how many we've terminated this year. And a typical number has always been in our size has been 25% turnover rate, which is and it's usually your bottom 25%. Typically it comes out of your newest employees over the year. Sometime it ends up being someone that's been here a while because they did something that wasn't something we could keep them for or whatever reason. But so currently this year we're at 25%. The number fluctuates based on how many employees you have, but and how many you terminate, but it's typically still the people that have been here less than 2 or 3 years that come and go. This isn't for them, which is fine. That's what we want people to tell us or let us know, that this isn't the industry for them. And that's what we try to teach them up front, or give them the good, the bad, and the ugly up front, so that they're anticipating this as they go. And then they find out something better comes along, or this industry isn't for them. So typically within the first year or two, they're not going to stick around.
That's great data. I mean, it's, if you can't measure it or you don't measure it, really kind of what's the point? So I think that anchoring to a way to measure these programs is core to making sure that the investment is worth it and that you can continue to iterate on it. So speaking of that, Matt, question for you. So how often are you tinkering with this program, and how long would you say it took you to get to the place where it is today?
Well, it's a constant battle that we face daily on what we need to do or improve on. So I would say it'll constantly be changing. It's fluid, but as of today, the current program that we're on with the new orientation program has been in effect for about 3 to 4 months. We've had very similar in orientation programs for the past several years. It's just progressed. It's got more technological. It's got more savvy with the new online version, which is great. So the great thing about it being online now is we can just easily go online and fix a manual or adjust something or tweak something, add a training course, take something out as we get feedback from the operators, and as our supervisors and managers take it and do it and familiarize themselves with it as well. The main thing that we want to do is just make sure that we're constantly changing with the times and with whatever is being brought to our attention at that moment. It doesn't have to stay the same thing always. There's no right or wrong training program, as long as you're doing something and starting out with something and trying to improve, in my opinion.
Again, super helpful. I think, hopefully what the audience is hearing is that there's no silver bullet for this. And, you have to, progress is more important than perfection when it comes to programs like this. So, one question I have for you both, since, you are attracting talent both new to the industry as well as tenured operators. We know that, different employees value different things as relates to deciding what company they want to spend so much time at. So I guess, Vernon, to start with you, is there anything about Mission Wreckers culture or benefits that you're finding that new hires are really grabbing onto that you would consider a competitive differentiator for Mission?
I think actually one of the biggest things is always scheduling. Uh, that there are set schedules that either gives them set days off every week or every other weekend off where they can plan. That's what we touched on earlier was
Mhm.
that is in our industry, that's one of the biggest things. And we sometimes we need more help than we have today. We may be calling people out on their days off. They get to take a truck home, but that benefits both of us. Benefits us because if we need help, they have our truck at home and they can respond and go to a call or to an incident from home instead of coming to the office. But for that, we pay them bonuses anytime they're off. Any of their off time that we call them out is a bonus that gets added to their paycheck because it needs to benefit them and their family, not just us. So, but the consistent schedule is what most people want to hear, and that they can go to a calendar and schedule things with their family on their days off.
And so just to stay on that topic a little bit, because we got a question that's like very applicable to this. So specifically, this is from Sarah. So how do you handle the night shift? Do the same tow truck drivers work the night shift, or do you switch drivers?
No, we have a scheduled shift. We have a full shift of night employees, and they have set days off. Obviously, if it's raining here in San Antonio, if it's raining, it's gets crazy time of the day or night it is. So there's day drivers that have trucks at home that can be called out when we get too many calls going on at one time. So the same applies there. But yeah, we have a full shift instead of people having to be on call all the time or on set days. The bigger you are, the more apt you are to be able to have that luxury of having more employees, more schedules.
Thanks, Vernon. So Matt, same question to you. Does anything stick out that Mission Wreckers doing that you would consider a competitive differentiator for talent?
I would just say our current operators, being our billboards and our word of mouth, and they're our biggest recruits, really. And so I just actually just hired a guy yesterday who came in, just moved here from South Carolina, been in Texas for 3 days, and saw one of our tow trucks. He liked the way it looked, went and talked to the driver. The driver was friendly, in a clean uniform, said, "This is a place to be." And he shot him my way. And uh, our guys are out there and they're talking to these people on the street every day, and they're our word of mouth. And that's what really a happy employee. They're not all happy. They all have bad days, of course, but overall, um, the right employee, the right word of mouth, bringing more talent into you for you is you can't really train or teach that.
And it's such a fantastic example of the importance of culture and setting a certain standard and empowering everyone to fully, believe and adopt that. It's a great example. Okay, so thank you both so much. So before I kick it back to Shelly to review any other questions we got in the chat, we do want to hear from the audience. So going to launch a quick poll. Question being, you can see it here. How long do you train new operators before they're on their own? Give it a few moments, and then Shelly, you can take it from here.
Fantastic. This has been so incredible. Thank you, Olivers. We have got several questions that have popped up during our webinar. I'm really excited to talk a little bit about those. A few of them you've already proactively answered. I think we have the answer to the poll that just popped up, it looked like. Do you want to address that, Jillian, real quick?
Yeah, so it looks like, 2 to 4 weeks seems to be the overwhelming um, number of days. It sounds like based on what we're hearing from Vernon and Matt, there could be, I would say, additional capacity for extending that, especially once you start to layer in any additional third-party training programs, any other certifications, and even perhaps like leaning more into partnering someone with folks internally and make sure that we get the feedback from those employees as well. So thank you so much for participating. All right, Shelley, over to you.
When I listen to everything that we've talked about, I can't help but think that during this training period where you allow the folks that you're hiring to understand how the Mission Wrecker Way operates every single day, it's also a discovery process. It's a discovery process to understand a little bit more about where this person is in their career set, their career, where do they want to go? Do they want to progress potentially? And I love all of this information that we're sharing out there live with our folks in the towing industry. A question that came up while you were talking, your training staff, are they dedicated trainers, or do you here's a rotator operator with no work, do you kind of use that person to train? Or do you have dedicated training staff?
So, and light duty, of course, we train a lot more light duty operators than we do heavy duty operators or rotator operators. So light duty, we have a handful of guys that we pick that we want people riding with, training with on a daily basis. On heavy duty, we normally actually start every heavy duty operator, whether you have experience or not in heavy duty, with our rotator operator. He's our heavy duty supervisor and manager. So he's going to go out there and start showing them the ropes, talking. He's going to be doing less call volume anyway than everybody else. So he's starting them out slow. He's going to talk to them about things that Mission does that other companies probably don't do, certain policies that we have, especially if they came from another company, and start on that process with him. And then we'll give him a couple normal tows and stuff like that, get him going, and then we'll move him on to somebody else that's going to be a little bit faster pace. We're going to be going from toe to toe. But again, on the light duty, we have more than a handful of operators that we know that are designated, in our opinion, to be trainers.
So they are designated trainers, but yet they still run calls for you on occasion.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Another question that came up is just talking about your turnover. We talked about that a little bit already. As far as damage claims go, what % of tows do you consider being simply part of the cost of doing business versus, okay, it's a red flag now where retaining or, keeping these employees, where do you kind of pivot when it's a red flag versus the cost of doing business when it comes to claims?
Right. We obviously monitor and keep track of who has claims, and there's a cost for that. If it's their negligence, they get charged for these claims. But a higher volume of claims, being the same person, we get notified so and so is continually having claims. So we have an internal meeting, and then we may meet with that person. We've gone as far as retraining, pulling people out of a truck and putting them back in training.
Okay.
To see if we can train that out of them, whatever the specific, we track what type of damages they are. It's the same type of damage. We're trying to retrain that out of them. And unfortunately, if that doesn't seem to work, we have to let them go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that damage is going to turn into something major incident, possibly, if for whatever reason they're not being trained out of that situation.
With that being said, in our normal standard operating procedures, if you damage a vehicle, we have an immediate response, as in we get that damage claim taken care of, we get that out of the way, right? But we bring the driver in, we talk about it, we have a post-damage claim form that we fill out with that driver, and we basically have an after-accident review with him, or after-action review, whatever you want to call it. That driver is going to sit down, and we're going to ask him, okay, what was that damage? How did it occur? What could we have done differently? And then me or another manager or driver supervisor is going to sit down with that person and say, okay, did you think about trying to do it this way? Did you try using this strap or this chain, or did you use skates or dollies, or could you have done this? These are other ideas that we could have done. Then we actually have a part on it that says, does this driver need training out in the field? And we'll put yes or no, and then okay, and then we'll put when he needs to go. But that's on every damage that we do, and we actually have a 5-day policy that training or that after action review must be done within 5 days of that driver damaging that certain vehicle or our own equipment.
Sure, that makes sense. We've got a couple questions regarding the pay. So you mentioned that some of your operators are also trainers in the capacity. And then let's talk about also the time period during the training. For those two different time periods, is the salary or the way that you pay the folks just straight across the board all the same? Or does that training period salary look different than it will when they are out of training? And the same thing for the trainers. Does that change based on what they're doing?
The our all commission drivers. So as a trainee, they're getting a flat rate per day for while they're training until they go on their own. Then they switch over to straight commission, just like the other drivers. And they're learning all that and what that means during the training period about how much that equates to from the trainers. And the trainer is on commission. So we pay him a flat rate dollar amount per day more per training day.
Okay, that makes sense. We've got a question here about the training period. Also, most companies tend to underwhelm in the onboarding process. Not you folks, certainly, but a lot of folks. What are you guys doing to show how much you appreciate your new employees during their training period or outside of the training period? Employee appreciation, the culture.
Matthew?
I think, in my opinion, well, it's showing how much we're pouring into everybody and making these systems and currently reviewing them. One of our, on our very last part, which is the orientation, at the very end of the orientation, we have a spot where we put that we're going to talk back with this driver in 30 days, in 60 days, and 90 days, and see how they've been. Do they have any questions? Is there anything that you've gone through in this training, in this onboarding process, or this orientation that wasn't clear enough, and 30 days out, 60 days out, 90 days out, that you still don't understand, that you still need help with, that you need us to go over with you further? We also are constantly pounding into their heads. We're just a phone call away. 24/7, you have day shift supervisors, night shift supervisors, driver managers, me, dispatch managers. Somebody is by a phone 24/7, whether they're awake, asleep, doesn't matter. Call somebody. We will get you the help you need. We will get you the answer you need. We are not throwing you out there to the wolves. I pound that in everybody's head that we are very, very involved in this business, hands-on. You still see me out at big truck wrecks on occasion. I mean, so we're not afraid to get dirty. We're not afraid to pick up gloves, and we're not afraid to answer the phone, and we will help you and find the right answer for you. I promise.
That's really fantastic. I mean, you can't ask for any more reinforcement than that. We want you here. We want you as an operator. We want you as a contributing employee and leader in our company, and we're here for you. I love that so much. A question here about working in traffic conditions that we all know can be very dangerous. What safety procedures are required, and what safety procedures do tow truck operators neglect to do that you've seen as a pattern?
Well, obviously the first and most important thing, or easiest thing I would say, would be making sure you're wearing the proper safety apparel. Class 3 safety vest when you're working on roadways over 50 miles an hour. Our uniforms are Class 3, so you don't have a choice. The only operators that do not have Class 3 is as a uniform shirt is our heavy duty operators, because they wear through them very quickly. So they kind of use more of a heavy duty work shirt, and we just constantly give them safety vests to put on top of that. But for example, our light duty drivers, which is our largest portion of operators, all of their uniform shirts are Class 3. So they come to work every day in a Class 3 vest. Making sure that they're working on non-traffic side of the controls, making sure they're never turning their back to traffic. These are all things, making sure they're using their beacons properly when they're arriving to the scene, when they're on the scene, and not while they're driving to or from the scene. These are all things that we put in our training, our our safety meetings that are quarterly, and that's really one of the main things that we talk about, as well as the Sharp 2 training course that every operator goes through as well, which is a traffic incident management course that teaches and hones in on all of these things.
Yeah, that I actually went through that training when I was in Wisconsin. Very valuable scene training. Are there any training, I guess, companies out there that you could recommend that you've been a part of in the past?
Absolutely. We use CERT, which is Complete Incident Response Training, with Bobby Tuttle. I'm sure you know him. We use Synergy Solutions, which is our third-party safety management company. And we've used West Wilburn, we've used RecMaster, you name it, we've probably used them. We use TTSA, we use Southwest Tow Operators, our local towing associations. Anything and everywhere we can get training, we get it.
Fantastic. I think I saw one more. Let me double check the list because they keep coming in. Oh, have you folks ever used personality tests for on people coming in?
No, that would be a good one. I think that might be something we need to look into, but that would be quite interesting, I must say. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have not tried that yet.
We know a few folks out there. And then you touched on this a little bit, and I believe this is the last question unless I see anything else coming in. But you mentioned about the documentation. The question is, what type of documentation, training checklists are you using to know that you are preparing your operator for the best chance of success? So, what does that checklist look like? Do they have a personal file that it goes into? How do you document that?
Yes, so I wish I could say everything that's on it. I don't even know off the top of my head, but one of the checklists that our drivers go through is actually a checklist that we purchased from Complete Incident Response Training, and it's like a 6-page, probably 100 different check marks on there of different things with laws, rules, regulations for the state, federal laws and rules that to make sure that they know and are aware of, as well as the towing laws for the state and the city that we work within, as well as just general safety. But really, the easiest way to do it if you're just starting a program would be take your typical tow that you do or you average the most if you're light duty, heavy duty, medium duty, or all of them, and start at the beginning. And how do you approach the scene? How do you interact with the customer? How do you get them in the vehicle or into your tow truck so that they're safe while on the side of the road while you're loading and they're not out there watching you? And start at the very beginning from that and put down every single thing that you can think of, and you can easily make your own. That way, that's how we started as well. We actually have a PowerPoint that we've been working on. We don't actually share it with our drivers currently at this point because we have our online orientation, but I went and I sat down and I went from the time that I received the call, how do I receive the call on my work phone, to acknowledging the call, arriving, taking care of my customer, loading, unloading, driving to the destination, and handing the invoice to the service writer or whoever, impound clerk, whoever it may be, and start there.
Fantastic. One more question. They just keep coming in. Everyone's so excited to be here. The question was, does every new hire go through all of this training, even if they have experience?
Yes. They may not go the full 6 weeks. That's going to be based on their skill and based off of the companies that we know that they might have came from. And as far as the in-classroom training, as far as the Sharp 2 and all of those, if we have record and can prove that they've been through it, we won't put you through it again unless it's something that we do yearly or every couple of years. For example, we have a safer program, which is like the Smith system driving course. Our operators do that and are refreshed on that every other year. So a new hire is going to get that. A current driver is going to get that, and they're going to continue to get that every year or every other year. But as far as in the state of Texas as well, we have continuing education that has to be done no matter what. So they're always going to be doing that as well. But we do verify to make sure that everything that we require has been done, or we will put them in it. And as far as the length of training, the bare minimum is probably going to be 2 weeks if you have absolutely everything else that we require and you've already worked for a company that does something similar, a similar program to us.
Love that. So I think that that is all of our questions. And just like you ask your trainees, I'm going to ask the same question. Is there anything out there that we've not covered? Anything on your mind that we've not brought up that our audience has not asked? Anything on your mind, Oliver's or Jillian?
I can't think of anything.
3, 2, 1, time's up. So you're going to have a lot of questions, Matt and Vernon. And, I would like for our audience to know how to reach out to you and get in touch with you. Perhaps give them the dispatching number with the code word webinar for the dispatcher to let you through. I'm not sure how you want to set that up, or how is the best way for them to reach out to you? Email? What do you think?
Emails. Yeah, our emails.
Okay. Go ahead and share those while we're on here.
Mine is voliver@missionwrecker.com.
And mine is moliver@missionwrecker.com.
Pretty simple. Get ready for that email to blow up, I'm pretty sure. Well, thank you all for joining us for our webinar. We certainly have appreciated your time that you gave us today to give us all these answers about training to retain these folks, all the employees in our towing industry. Once our recording is stopped, you'll be able to take a look at it. We'll post it all over our socials. You'll be able to find it there. Jillian Cressetti, thank you again for being an amazing moderator. We appreciate that. And if you folks have any other questions out there, you are welcome to send me an email personally. It's shawkins, SHAWKINS, @atora.com. Perhaps you have topics that you'd like for us to address in future webinars. But thank you so much. We appreciate everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye, folks.
Thank you.